Vi skal I gang med neste foredrag, og det kommer til å foregå på engelsk, det det? Ja? Ok, så da skal jeg starte med en vits som jeg fikk I en bar, og som jeg kun kan bruke når jeg skal introdusere noen på engelsk, for jeg klarer ikke å oversette denne vitsen til norsk. Hvis noen gjør det med god kvalitet, så må du si fra til meg etterpå. Og den var kort og godt sånn, at og en som fortalte at my last wife was a sex object. Every time I asked for sex, she objected. Det, du skal få vi skal ha inn doktor Daryl. Han ikke smittedoktor, men han en smittsom doktor. For det sies om han som følger hans forelesninger. Han foreleser I Italia, I England, I Norge, og egentlig sjefsforsker på SINTEF. Men rundt omkring I mange akademiske settinger og skriver bøker, og en av de som har gleden til å få jobbe tett med han, sier at Daryls passion og energi smittsom. Vi gleder oss til å bli smittet, Daryl. Vær så god.
Oh dear. Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. You can hear me? Yeah. There's the clicker. There we go. Perfect. Hi. I am very afraid. You know why? I don't think, I'm not convinced that we understand the crisis we're in and what we need to do to solve it. Sustainability, we're not going to solve this challenge by making reports and audits and benchmarking exercises. Those are very useful as a way forward, but we're not going to solve the challenge with them. And I'm looking for the next button in your artificial intelligence thing. It's how to eliminate the need for all those trees. There's a gap, right? Did you saw the gap? That's the elephant in the room, I think. There's lots of elephants in the room, but to me, that's the biggest elephant in the room. That's the challenge. How do we go from measuring where we are today and comparing to other industries? Great, but how do we go forward? What's the next step? And to me, it's about attitudes. Yeah, attitudes. It's very personal. And as a researcher, I like to present cases. So here's a case from Australia. I'm working together with a guy from University of Melbourne. And he presented this case to me a little while ago. And here we see the case of Greg Taylor, 73. And what Greg's going to do is he's going to quit drinking by 2050. So we're going to be net zero, netto null by 2050, right? So this is Greg's approach, right? He's a very ambitious target. But he's going to continue to drink as normal before reducing consumption in 2049 when he turns 101 years old. It's business as usual. He can measure his intake, but just continue as usual. It's important not to rush the process. It's not realistic to transition to zero alcohol overnight. Huh? We understand that. A phased approach is required. And he added that whiskey drinkers were the real problem. I think we talked about whiskey earlier, right? You're the real problem here, not Greg. Greg is lobbying for additional investments in beer to maintain supply chain security. During the pandemic, disruptions in the supply chain, Greg's alcohol consumption levels were all over the place. If we looked at his reports, we would see how affected it was. Now, Greg will also be able to bring forward drinking credits earned from the days that he hasn't drunk over the past 40 years. Net zero, huh? Enabling him to reach net zero alcohol consumption, but to continue drinking. And his sister transition, he's invested in a second beer fridge, which he describes as the capture and storage method. And he's also investing in direct alcohol extraction from blood technologies. He's investing. Offsetting some of his responsibility. And I think this sums it up. It's about attitudes. What are we really doing to work towards solving the sustainable Development Goals. Nice story. So I'm Daryl Powell, chefforsker at SINTEF Manufacturing, also førsteamanuensis 2 in English. That's adjunct associate professor, I think, at USN in Kongsberg Business School. But at SINTEF Manufacturing, we're not just in Raufoss and Trondheim. We're in Kongsberg and Ålesund and Hvordan. So we have an office in Bakkenteigen at the Forskningspark. So if any of you are interested in lean or bærekraft or digitalization, please take contact. We can see what we can do together to really solve these challenges. In SINTEF Manufacturing, we're divided up into 3 main areas. We have one department which is working with material technology, another department working with the production technology, so these are the techie guys. I'm belonging to the department in the middle, industrial ecosystems. So now we're working with everything from lean production, product development, digitalization of manufacturing, and also sustainability and circular economy. And to me, it's really quite clear. The vision is just as is here. If we think lean and use technology, we can achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. A 3-step process. And the technology is a funny one. That's why it's got this little asterisk. Because digitalization is sexy. We're rushing in and buying new digital tools and technologies because there's a market for it. It's Industry 4. You've heard of that? Industry 4, Industry 5. Digitalization is cool. It's trendy. So we rush in and buy stuff. But do you know the average company will waste $5.5 million on failed digital transformation in the next years? There's a 70% chance that your digital transformation will fail. And I think a lot of the reason, because we're missing the lean thinking in the first place. And digitalizing wasteful processes just leads to digital waste. And that doesn't help us achieve any of the goals, actually. So we need to think a little smarter first, and that's engaging people. So I like to say lean is one of the most misunderstood business concepts of our time. If I asked all of you, how many in the room now, maybe 60? What is lean? I'd get 60 different answers, I'm pretty certain. And what's important to realize is that lean is not what many of you might say or might think. Unfortunately, it's been misunderstood over the last 20 years or so. It's been popularized since the 1990s. Many of us think, and I mean, I was there first when I started learning about lean in Wales back in early 2000s. It's a set of tools and best practices for operational excellence. Who agrees with me? Are you already hesitant? Not tricking me. Now, it's not a set of best practices. It's a set of conditions. What Toyota did with the Toyota production system is they developed a set of conditions which act as a learning and education system. So it's not a production system, it's an education system. A system for continuously developing people through solving problems and learning. We only discovered this a few years ago. Actually, this picture is taken from the Toyota Commemorative Museum in Nagoya. I've been lucky enough to visit it 3 times now. I took this I took this picture just last autumn. And I finally realized what the picture meant, or what the model meant. Here we see Kiichiro Toyoda, the founder of Toyota Motors, son of Sakichi Toyoda. What's he doing? Looking. The area that the Toyota family are from is renowned for something called the Mikawa spirit. It means being studious, creative, and understanding the importance of manufacturing or making things. And to Toyota, to make good things, first you have to make good people. So what is exhibiting here is this, what we call Genshi Genbutsu. Go and see. Be studious. At the Gemba. So Gemba is the real place. There's a lot of Japanese terms. Someone would probably have said, yeah, lean is a lot of Japanese terms. You'd probably be a little bit right there. Gemba means the real place. So to go to Gemba, that's where the real learning takes place. But what can we achieve with lean? I sold myself into a lean program manager position at Kongsberg Maritime some 8 or so years ago. 2014, I started down on Strandpromenaden, designing and developing and deploying this lean program, the Kongsberg Way, we called it. And to sell that into the executives, I had to say, what are we going to achieve with this lean program? So I looked, being a researcher, so I looked into the literature and say, yeah, with 30 to 50% improvement in quality and cost and delivery time. 30 to 50%. Yeah, and that's okay. You can get there with best practices, 30 to 50%. But a lot of the time, it's not going to stick. So the true promise of lean production, lean thinking, it's enormous. Still very relevant for most of the companies we have today in here and in Norway and in the rest of Europe. We can really make people productivity soar. One of the companies we saw in Kongsberg Maritime Subsea, 400% people productivity growth in 3 years when we switched from best practice implementation to learning system, engaging leaders, managers in the learning system. So it's massive improvement we can realize. And I think it's very much applicable today, not just about cost cutting and profitability growth, but also about sustainable development goals, achieving the sustainability goals. So the vision with lean is very simple. Half the bad, double the good. Simple but not easy. Eh? Half the bad, double the good. What do we mean with half the bad? We think about cost. Cost is bad, right? If we do lean properly, we can halve the cost. Well, that's not really what it's about, because that's a reductionist view of lean. Lean is about growth. So actually, we're doubling the good. We're doubling the profitability. We're doubling the market share. We're doubling the good stuff. The bad stuff is our quality defects, our impact on the environment. If we look at this through a triple bottom line perspective, here we have the profit, here we have the planet, but to make this go around, we need to engage the people. It's the social aspect. So that's very important, that we engage people in continuous improvement and learning. So we wrote about this in the book. 2019, we published the Lean Sensei. Because if we said that if lean is about learning, how do we teach lean? Who's learned something about lean in this room? You did it at USN, or how did you manage to learn about lean? A trainee program in practice, eh? A little bit, yeah. And I think one of the failures we have with teaching lean, I've been teaching lean at university since I moved to Norway in 2009. So in Trondheim at NTNU, we started an EVU course in lean, where we tried to teach lean in the classroom. It's crazy talk. How can you learn lean in the classroom? We have to learn lean at the Gemba with a sensei, a teacher. So that's what we kind of documented in this book, is what is a sensei? How do we really learn lean? What does a sensei know? Actually, what we discovered is it doesn't necessarily need to know anything. It just needs to know where to point. So when you walk around with leaders on the shop floor, maybe, Evan, we can go for a walk on your Gamba one day, we point to some things, to some problems, to some challenges, and we challenge your misconceptions or misunderstandings of certain strategic choices that we may have made, and see how this is happening on the shop floor. So we adopt a helicopter view. And I think one of the problems which led to most of the misunderstandings with lean is that when the Americans and the Europeans were trying to walk around the Gamba with the sensei was pointing at the moon, but they only saw the finger. Right? Finger was easy to see. We saw the tools, but we didn't see the conceptions and the mental model around that. So it's very important to go to Gemba. Gemba is the greatest teacher. Lean strategy for sustainable growth. It's very simple. but it's not easy. 3 things: challenge, problem, Kaizen. Sustainability challenge, we have those, right? I mean, like, Akio Toyoda was previous president of Toyota. He's recently stepped down. But he's also the chairman of the Japanese Automobile Manufacturing Association. He said that our greatest challenge is creating a carbon neutral society. That's a pretty good challenge to create consensus on, right? But if we go with the challenge, carbon neutral society, then we need to go back to the problems. And to discover the right problems, we need to develop the right systems. And this is okay, so to a certain extent, technology helps us here. You said if we don't measure it, we don't really care about it. So if we start measuring things, the technology can help point us in the right direction of where the problems are. But then we have to go and see them to understand them. And that's what lean thinking is about. It's about managers and employees discovering problems together and going through the problem-solving process to encourage learning. And this means we're then developing the people through continuous improvement. So Toyota developed the Toyota Production System not as a set of tools and techniques for operational excellence, but as a set of conditions to represent the right learning system, education system, for developing and improving the production system. So it's not an end in itself, implementing lean or Toyota Production System or the XPS, your name here, production system. It's the way we use that system to discover the right problems, the most important problems which are helping us to address the challenges. So we look at Toyota again as the exemplary lean company. They've decided to have these 6 concrete challenges to help them on their journey to carbon neutrality and net positive environmental impact. But this isn't only used in Toyota and across all the Toyota plants. It is also having effect in their supply chain. So we got to visit Mifune when we were in Toyota City last fall. Mifune are making stamped metal parts. So a motor car is 12,000 component parts. Mifune are making 4,000 of those parts for Toyota. There's a great demonstration of quick changeover, flexibility in their machine, stamping lines. They'd actually used the COVID pandemic to reduce their setup times even more. So it's a fantastic company to go and see. But when we were walking around the Gemba, we saw little hints and tips about the SDGs, but also relating to Toyota. So you see how this is kind of governed by Toyota and its supply chain. And they were a level 2 supplier of Toyota. So not a level 1. This is a further step back in the supply chain. So we have our challenges. And then we can use the Sustainable Development Goals to kind of point at the problems as well. So we can use this as a framework or a learning system for discovering the right problems in our companies. All companies are different. We have 17 different goals here, which we can use to find those problems, which are going to help us address the sustainability challenge. I'm going to present a little case now, over in the west, or the southwest of Norway. This is Steinar. Steinar is the CEO of Haugstad Møbel, furniture producer over in Vigrestad, south for Stavanger. Steinar is learning lean. He joined us in Japan to go and see the best practice companies out there and see what lean was all about. He's also creating one of the most digitalized and automated furniture factories in Norway. Impressive stuff which is happening down in Vigrestad. But he's also engaged in learning about the circular economy and sustainability. So it's sustainability which is the core challenge for Steinar. And Steinar says that nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. This is a bit back to the elephant again, right? We need to break it up. We can't eat the whole elephant individually, but together we can take small bits. And I think this is an important way of looking at it. And the whole business model for Steinar is built up around responsible production and consumption. So that's the challenge, and the problems are built around that. So cleaner production is not just lean production, it's clean production. So he's using lean thinking and practice to find a circular business model for his operations. One of the things he's doing there is, like I think you mentioned earlier, about using renewable energy, water energy. So it's 100% renewable energy used in his factory. He's also creating better service by involving the whole of his value chain within the company. It's not just about production. It's another thing which is misunderstood about lean. We think it's just about production operations. It's actually more about product development than production, because we can design in a hell of a lot of waste into a product, but it doesn't make much sense to improve that out of the product afterwards, right? So we have to start early in the supply, in the value chain. So he has this complete life cycle perspective of his products, including collect at end of life. So what they do is it's kind of a furniture as a service type business model. He will take the furniture back at the end of the life. What he's done is he's created a side to the business called the Hvordan it's called. And here he's engaging school children, students from 10 different schools. So he has 100 different students in 10 teams, they call them companies, to teach them entrepreneurship and sustainability. I'll come back to that in a second. So that's part of the collect at the end of life. They're also recycling waste and reusing resources. So they have some very clever optimization algorithms for working out where they're going to cut the parts from the wood, but they still waste wood. And unfortunately, there are also still defective parts at the end. So what they do with these, if they cannot reuse them or fix them, the very small amount of waste they have will be burned, firstly to heat the factory. It can be quite cold in Norway, huh? But also they harness that heat to send to the residential homes and the nurseries in the local region. So I think you were also mentioning about using this energy to heat the local environment. And green products, of course, they're only using wood from sustainably certified farms. So it's end to end. Thinking from product development to end of life, where we would otherwise just send it to the scrap heap, but we're taking it back in and using it in the hub. So I think if we put this into the perspective of challenge, problem, and Kaizen, Steinar's challenge, like we said, was responsible consumption and production. That's what the company is branding for. So what's the problem? The problem, the linear economy. We chop down trees, we take the wood, consume it, make some nice fancy furniture, and then burn it at the end. That's not so good for the environment. So the solution, the improvements are oriented around the circular economy. So this is why he's building this hub. This is Steinar. This was actually part of the other side of the job, is the digitalization part. And this, we were trying out the RealWear headset to do a remote gamble walk during the COVID, because we weren't allowed to travel down to Vigrestad. So Steinar was using this camera and walking around and showing us the hub, and we were pointing to things and challenging him out. And it's all very fun. But I mean, at the end of the day, he says, there's no better way to learn about sustainability than to be part of it, instead of sitting in a classroom and hearing about it. And this is just the same for lean. Can't sit in the classroom, we have to do it at the Gamba, because we have to strike a balance between delivery and discovery. So we're companies, we make products or services, we deliver something. So we're focusing all the time on delivering. How can we deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals? How can we deliver on our lean program? But we have to take a step back and use the education system or the problems to discover what is the real solution that we need to implement in order to solve this. And of course, we do that at the Gamba. Shall I wrap up? I see you stood there, you're keen. That was a hint. Shut up, Englishman.
Yeah.
Get off my stage. Challenge, problem, Kaizen. Thank you. I can continue when I sit in here.
Yeah, you will come back to that. Thank you, Daryl. Yes, so I got a new business idea now. I'm gonna sell myself coming out to companies who want to improve and just point.
Perfect.
Yeah?
It works.
It does?
It works.
Yeah? That's perfect. This is for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoy it. And see you soon in the chair. But we're going to have one more before you come back again.
Yeah.